Why hello, I can see you're impressed by my fancy new channel bag. Well, I got it buying not one, but three fake Apple Watches, so I guess you can say I'm a pretty big deal. And today's video is only about one thing: flexing on you mere mortals. Now, the reason I find these bootleg Apple Watches so fascinating is the variety of internal hardware they offer. As far as I understand it, with Apple, the difference between a $400 and a $1,200 Series 8 is the strap and some EP, whereas with these knockoffs, apparently a $50 one gets much improved internals over a $30 one. Starting off with the cheapest one, this is an imitation normal Apple Watch with some pretty pathetic internal hardware in it. That's according to the person I bought it from in Shenzhen. And then moving on to the middle tier that I bought, this is the CW9 Pro Max, which is an imitation Apple Watch Ultra, I think is what that shape is called, but also with similarly losery internals as the normal Apple Watch imitation down there. And then finally we have the GS Ultra 8 Plus, the cream of the crop in terms of knockoff Apple Watches. It's so fancy, in fact, we don't even get a graphic on the box. And apparently the internals of this one make it perform very similarly to a real Apple Watch, again, according to the seller in Shenzhen. The box has had its teeth kicked in a little bit, but that could be my fault. In the box, you get some reasonable documentation, a very plasticky wireless charger, and the hopefully nobody notices this isn't an Apple Watch. It even has that like rice paper effect that comes with real Apple packaging. Now, the reason that I got the standard shape Apple Watch imitation in rose gold is because Anna has a real rose gold Apple Watch, so we have a direct point of comparison. Now, aside from Anna's looking like it was mauled by a bear, on close inspection, you can definitely tell the difference. We've got some curved glass on the real one and some proper looking seals around orifices. But as somebody that basically never interacts with Apple Watches, this is a very convincing imitation. Oh, there we go. I think it matches my wind-up Cosmonaut watch very nicely. I don't know, if you didn't know any better, you would think that I am the proud owner of a real Apple Watch. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't quite remember which of these two was the high-end one, but I'm gonna assume the CW9 is because it's got a bigger number in the name. Although the other one says Ultra. I don't know. Either way, let's start with the Ultra. That. And then that opens. Ooh, Watch Ultra, which will make it nice and easy for you to climb Kilimanjaro or whatever. Now, the Ultra came with the same accessories as the baby one, except, oh, I need to attach the strap myself, which went very well. That just went straight through. It just says, open the package and follow the steps to the straps connect to the smartwatch. No, I think this is the correct way around. I guess that's attached, is it? Like, yeah, surely that isn't oh, I think I just broke it. Oh no, I think I've already broken it. Look at that! Luckily, my next attempt was successful, so I could finally admire the Apple Watch Ultra in all its glory. Wow, the Apple Watch Ultra has a real male porn star vibe to it. It's quite chunky. You know, kind of like those big G-Shock watches that swingers wear. And then finally, we get to unbox the CW9 Pro Max Ultra Super Duper. And this one supposedly comes with an OLED display. It comes with two straps. And like the other two watches, it came with a real crappy feeling wireless charger, an instruction manual, and the watch. And luckily, the straps were much easier to attach to this fancy one. Look at that! Oh, someone broke again. Someone came off. It's almost like this is a knockoff Apple Watch and has build quality issues. What the hell? No, aside from that, I think it's cool that they still have the sensor bulge on the bottom, and I'm curious to see how much functionality they have compared to a normal Apple Watch. And apparently it's waterproof, which I'm also excited to test. There they are, we've unboxed all of them. Wow, I feel like a hotshot in all of these. This must be what Elon Musk feels like. When firing up a bootleg Apple Watch, first it gets you to choose a language, and then it shows you a QR code, which prompts you to download the app you need to interface with your phone from this very legitimate looking website. I mean, does that look like something we want to do? And once you build up the courage to actually press one of the buttons, you're greeted by glowing reviews on the App Store. Garbage watch only worked 3 months, now stop, keep off all the time. I mean, it is a fake Apple Watch, what do you expect? Terrible operating system, feel like ditching the watch. Apparently, like, it just lies about the biometrics. That's very funny. I do want to test that. I think that zoom animation is my favorite. Now, after about 3 days of using these fake Apple Watches, I can tell with certainty that those reviews are all correct. Very little works on these, although, interestingly, the Shenzhen seller was also correct. The more expensive Apple Watch is a decent bit more responsive and snappy than the cheaper ones. Having said that, they are all equally and remarkably temperamental. And there's also a difference in like button quality between them, although not in the way that you'd think. The more expensive one has by far the worst buttons, and they don't have anywhere near the same tactility and accuracy as the buttons on the cheap ones, which is pretty weird. But luckily, the actual functionality between them all is similar. Again, in that nothing works. As far as I can tell, the only things they can do is tell the time, which is good. I feel like that's a minimum requirement. The heart rate meter is in the region of being accurate, although it does give a bit of a different reading to the ones on a real Apple Watch. Surely you don't have different heart rates on different wrists, do you? Oh, and on a side note, the fancy one definitely doesn't have an OLED in it. Ugh, these damn OLEDs with their infamous problems around IPS glow. And finally, the pedometer on them works. And aside from the calculator app, that's about it. And I do really get the impression that a bunch of the apps just make up data. Like, for example, the compass apps are all broken in different ways on the different Apple Watches. Like on this one, it just gives you the wrong reading. Like if you point it north, it says you're pointing east. Whereas with one of the other ones, it's calibrated not horizontally, but vertically. Some of you probably would have noticed that this one's been stuck on the stopwatch app. None of the buttons are programmed to take you out of the stopwatch app. So if you accidentally click on it, you're screwed. The only way I could get out of the stopwatch app was to let the battery die. There was no other way. And I'm just gonna have to do it again with this one because it's just stuck in the stopwatch app now. The sleep app just straight up doesn't give you any readings. What do you mean 0 hours? Did last night's cuddling mean nothing to you? The weather app also clearly just makes up readings. Very inconsistently though, because you have to sync the watch through your phone, but each of the watches that I synced through my phone gave me a different weather reading. But they were synced through the same app. How does that make any sense? Although, luckily, if you do get caught out in the rain because of the weather app not working on it, I did test the waterproofness on them, and it seems to work reasonably well. So it's got that going for it. But aside from the waterproofing, it does really feel like these Apple Watches are gaslighting you. Because another example of that, aside from them just making up all their telemetry, is if you go into the big like app hexagon here, it looks like there's quite a lot of apps on them, but I feel like half of them are duplicates. You see, there's 2 of the calculator app, there's 2 of the SOS app, there's 2 of pretty much every app. So they just make it look like this has more functionality than it does, and then most of the functionality that it pretends to have just doesn't work. It's really crazy. But I think the cream of the crop of all of the weird crap around this is that when you go onto the app, ad, it gives you the option to download additional watch faces. Oh, there's another ad. They charge you $1 per watch face, which is insane. Not even Apple charges you money for additional watch faces. Finally, I did also open up one of them, which was quite a hellish process. Oh, that did so much damage. Because they are glued down to all hell. But once you get inside... Oh, finally! They're not nearly as advanced internally as a normal Apple Watch, but it does look like somebody put quite a bit of care into designing these. Like, this does not look like an easy thing to make. Now, does that change the fact that these are essentially just designed for you to lie to strangers about how much money you have? No, it doesn't, but they are an interesting piece of engineering, which is why I bought them. And I think that brings me to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this pointless video, subscribe to the channel for more pointless videos, and until the next one, bye-bye.